It's just another day at a power plant in Hong Kong when suddenly someone hacks into their system. The cooling system shuts down, and the rising heat causes a massive explosion. Hundreds of workers are either killed or badly hurt, and everyone living within 10 kilometers is forced to evacuate. Meanwhile, in a US prison, a hacker named Nick is pulled from his cell. The guards find a hidden device in his stuff and notice that other inmates in his block have suddenly received money. They blame Nick, but he denies everything. As punishment, he's thrown into solitary confinement, where he keeps himself busy by exercising. Back in China, a cyber expert named Captain Dewey tells the government that the plant was hacked using an old trick called a remote access tool, or RAT. The plant's outdated systems made the attack easy. Around the same time, similar reactors in the US are also hacked. Dewey wants to track the hacker but can't get into the overheated plant yet. It's too dangerous. Dewey asks the FBI for help. Agent Carol has to convince her boss to work with China. Eventually, Dewey gets hold of the code used in the American attack, but he can't figure it out alone. So he brings in his sister, Lin, a skilled network engineer. Then another major attack happens, this time on the stock market in Chicago. Prices go crazy. The FBI holds a meeting and discovers the RAT code was written by two different people. Dewey isn't impressed with their findings. He asks Carol to talk to Nick in prison. Nick has a shady past of hacking banks and Carol doesn't trust him. But Dewey reveals a secret. Half of the hacking code was actually written by him in college as a joke, and the other half by Nick. Someone had stolen and combined their old work to create this new, dangerous version. To stop the hacker, they need someone who truly understands the code, and that's Nick. The FBI makes Nick an offer. Help us and we'll get you out of prison. Nick reads the document and realizes he'll only be in jail for a couple of weeks, so he refuses to sign it. Instead, he makes a deal. If he catches the hacker, he walks free. If not, they can send him back to prison. The FBI is desperate, so they agree. Nick's old friend Dewey picks him up, and they have a warm reunion. During their flight, Dewey shows Nick the updated code. Carol isn't happy. Nick is only supposed to use a computer when the FBI is watching. Soon after, Nick gets access to the Mercantile Trade Exchange system, which has top-level security. The only way to plant a virus there is in person, using the boss's thumbprint. Nick digs into the system and finds hidden code on the boss's USB drive. They start thinking about who could have planted it. The boss remembers a guy named Lozano who worked there briefly and then vanished. Nick and the team study the hacker's code. They notice it's not finished. They figure the hacker needed quick cash, so he hit the soy market to get money, and now he's preparing for something even bigger. Meanwhile, the FBI spots Lozano on old security footage. His tattoos reveal he's part of a gang and used a fake identity to get the job. Sending agents might tip him off, so Nick and Lin offer to go. To keep an eye on Nick, the FBI puts a tracker on his ankle. When Nick and Lin reach Lozano's place, they find him dead from a drug overdose. They search his computer and find high-tech gear designed to hide all his digital traces, clearly set up by the hacker. There's also a strange email asking to meet. Nick replies, confirming the time and place. The FBI agent watching Nick tries to report it but loses phone signal. Nick takes the phone to fix it, and uses the moment to hack the app that tracks his ankle monitor. Meanwhile, Carol and Dewey ask the trade exchange boss for access to all their client files. At first, the man refuses to hand over the files because it would break confidentiality. But when Carol threatens to go to the press and expose that the market isn't safe, he gives in. Once they get the files, Dewey and Carol scan through the sales data. They find 3 big trades that happened right after the hack. Clearly someone took advantage. All 3 are linked to bank accounts in Hong Kong. Later that evening, Nick and Lin wait for the hacker at a restaurant, but he never shows. Nick spots some security cameras and sneaks into the back room to check the footage. He realizes the hacker has been watching them the whole time. He traces the camera software and finds an IP address in Ukraine. Nick sends the hacker a message, but the guy just insults him. Angry, Nick returns to the dining area to tell Lin they should leave. But suddenly, a group of thugs walk in and demand to know who they are. Nick doesn't answer. He just starts fighting, using chairs, tables, anything he can grab. He takes down most of them, and when the last guy charges at him with a knife, Nick smashes a bottle and wins easily. After the fight, Nick calls Dewey and warns him. The hacker set them up. Now the hacker knows they're closing in. Dewey tells them to head to China the next morning to follow the money trail. That night, Nick and Lin get intimate. The next day, the team arrives at a power plant still recovering from an explosion. The area's too hot to enter, so they wait. Meanwhile, they meet the local police who've traced the bank accounts to 3 low-level criminals tied to a bigger player, someone named Kasser. They're likely just a front for the hacker. The police haven't seen any strange behavior, but Nick checks the suspects' daily routines. He notices they all visit the same location every morning. Nick and Dewey go to that spot and find a police van watching a Lebanese trafficker. They review the van's footage and see the 3 suspects show up every day, but all they do is text. Suspicious, Nick uses a phone to scan the area and picks up a strange signal. He follows it and finds a hidden transmitter buried in the bushes. They plug the drive into a computer and quickly confirm that the 3 account holders just need to walk past the hacker to receive the stolen messages. These can be deleted later, leaving no trace behind. Later, the team notices the money in the accounts is gone, meaning the hacker has already cashed out. Dewey rushes to tell Nick, but catches him in bed with his sister, Lin. The team takes off in a helicopter to go after Kasser. On the way, Dewey warns Nick to think twice about getting involved with Lin. He could end up back in prison. When they reach the target location, they find all the surveillance officers dead. They storm the building, but Kasser and his men are nowhere to be found. A hidden trapdoor leads them underground, where the team continues the search. Suddenly, gunfire erupts. Kasser and his men attack and chaos breaks out. Kasser grabs a hostage, kills him, and escapes with his crew. As they flee, they plant explosives in the tunnel. Outside, the other half of the team is already waiting at the exit. A A shootout begins, but Kasser blows up the tunnel, killing the agents inside. With no backup, the rest of the team is pinned down. Kasser and his men manage to escape by boat. That night, Kasser picks up a mysterious package from traffickers on a large ship and heads back to shore. Meanwhile, Dawei gets word that the temperature at the nuclear plant has dropped enough for them to enter. It's still dangerously hot, so they suit up in hazmat gear and move quickly. Inside, bodies are still lying around. One of the agents collapses from the heat, so Nick tells Dawei to get him out while he finishes the mission alone. Nick smashes open an emergency cabinet, grabs an axe and starts hitting the servers. The vibrations shake the ceiling, causing debris to fall, but he keeps going. He finally opens one server and pulls out a hard drive. Then he and Dawei help carry a sick agent out. Later, the team cools the drive and connects it to a computer. They find bits of malware, but it's too damaged to be useful. Nick remembers how the government once recovered his deleted data. Carol admits they have a powerful tool called Black Widow that might help. She asks her boss for access, but he refuses. He won't share it with China or a criminal hacker. Desperate, Carol agrees to let Nick hack in and use it. Everyone but Lean leaves the room so they can claim they didn't know. Nick tricks Carol's boss with a fake email and steals his password. It works, he gets into Black Widow. While the team is out grabbing dinner, someone secretly places something under their car. Meanwhile, Nick tracks the hacker's IP address to a server in Indonesia. But the server is protected by a hacker-only hosting company. It's nearly impossible to break remotely. Their only option is to go there and get the drives themselves. Carol can't ask for more favors, so Dawei offers to pull strings and get them visas and access badges. Later, Lean digs into the hosting company's finances and finds payments for satellite images of Malaysia's coast, clearly connected to the hacker. Meanwhile, the Chinese government learns from the FBI that Nick hacked into a secure system. They demand he be sent back to jail. Dawei defends him, saying Nick helped crack the case, but his superiors won't listen. The team is cleared to go to Indonesia, except Nick, who must be sent to the US. The next morning, Dawei secretly warns Lean. She and Nick escape before they can be caught. Carol gets a call from her boss, who's furious about what happened. She tries to explain she had no choice, but still gets ordered to hand Nick over. When she goes to his room, he's already gone. They quickly realize Nick hacked the agent's tracking app and fix it to find his new location. Meanwhile, Dawei secretly meets Nick and warns him that the Americans think China has the Black Widow virus because of him. He tells Nick to run and promises to meet him later in Indonesia. Lean wants to come too, but Nick says it's too dangerous. They argue and Lean walks away upset. As Carol and another agent follow the tracker signal, Lean goes ahead and waits for Nick and Dawei at the airport. Nick tells Lean their relationship won't work, he's a fugitive. Suddenly, a car explodes behind them, killing Dawei. Kasser and his men attack. Nick hides with a heartbroken Lean. Carol and her partner show up and take down a few thugs, but are quickly shot too. Using the chaos as cover, Nick and Lean escape into a subway station and jump onto a train just in time. Lean swears she'll get revenge and Nick agrees to take her with him. She pays some criminals for fake passports and to remove Nick's ankle tracker. Instead of going to Indonesia, they fly to Malaysia to investigate what the hacker is planning. The police follow the tracker app, but it's already been dumped into the ocean. Nick and Lean bribe a private plane owner and fly off. In Malaysia, they follow satellite coordinates to a remote area. At first, it looks empty, but they find hidden stairs and a hatch. Inside, they discover machines that run a nearby dam. Nick realizes the hacker wants to destroy the dam, which would flood the tin mines. The earlier cyber attacks were just test runs to perfect the virus. Later in Indonesia, Nick and Lean set up their equipment in a hotel room. Nick then pushes a van off a rooftop to crash into a data center. As emergency teams respond, he sneaks inside, connects his laptop to the servers and downloads files. Back in the room, they confirm the hacker has created a third version of the virus and is planning to hit the dam. They also find his real identity and bank details. The next day, Lean goes to the bank and tells the receptionist she has a meeting with the manager. She says she accidentally spilled coffee on her notes. The receptionist offers to help and plugs in her USB drive to print a new copy. This gives Nick access to the bank system, and he transfers all the hacker's money into his own account. Then he sends the hacker a message with a phone number. Later they get a call from Kasser, but Nick insists on speaking to the real hacker and hangs up. The phone rings again. This time it's Sadok, the true mastermind and Kasser's boss. Nick pretends he wants to work with him and they agree to meet. Suspecting danger, Lean brings supplies from a store, and Nick builds makeshift armor and hides self-defense tools. He tells Sadok to only bring Kasser, but Sadok shows up with his whole crew. Lean spots them and warns Nick, who calls Sadok to change the meeting place. That evening, they meet at a crowded local festival, but Sadok brings his men again. Nick and Lean hide among the crowd. Nick sneaks up on Kasser, but Kasser sees him and pulls a gun. As Kasser gets close, Nick quickly grabs his head and stabs him with a screwdriver, then takes his gun and goes after Sadok. Before Nick can shoot, Sadok's men open fire. In the chaos, Nick gets shot a few times but kills both attackers. Sadok charges at him with a knife, but it gets caught in Nick's hood. They fight and Nick breaks Sadok's arm, then stabs him repeatedly until he dies. Wounded but alive, Nick runs to Lean. She helps him to the car and patches him up. His makeshift armor saved him from serious injury. The next day they leave Indonesia and start a new life, using Sadok's stolen money.